Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings. Hope you're all having a nice day today. Today I want to revisit Spare. I'm guessing a lot of you haven't read it. I remember back in the day a lot of you said you weren't going to buy it. I wanted a copy because although it's not very well written at all and it's really muddled, and there's, you can see there are false memories in it. It's almost like someone else has manipulated him into writing it. However, he has signed it off as these are my words, Prince Harry, and he's done Spare. And you all know, I've actually taken the cover off because I've gone back to read it, and there's a reason. There's a reason for this. This is the cover. I take the covers off books when I'm reading them because they get all, like that when you're reading it on the sofa, and then I put it back on after. Right, my reason for revisiting Spare. Well, I have, since my last video, the live with my daughter, actually a bit before that, I found something out about the Cotswolds. Something not necessarily anything to do with Prince Harry. And I won't elaborate on that. But throughout my life, I've always felt that when I've got someone who is attacking me, I try and understand them. Where are they coming from? Because when you look through the eyes of your enemy, then you see things the way they see things. And that can only help. Now, oddly enough, this copy of Spare that I've got, with no cover, was sent to me by someone I really wish I'd never met. Someone who turned out to be quite a menace. But that's another story. So there's irony in the fact that I have this copy. I'm a grown woman. I'm perfectly capable of buying a copy of Spare myself. And I said I was going to wait until it was in the junk shop, for £1. But this person sent me this, and I felt obliged to pay them not only for the book, but for the exorbitant postage to Gibraltar. And yes, I had to queue up and pay some kind of fucking import duty. It cost me like 50 quid in the end. But this is an undeniable record of what Prince Harry said then. He can't change that in the future. He can elaborate on it, but he can never change what he said in here. Now, I admit, I've done these book reviews before when it first came out. I went straight to the bit with Megsy, because that's the bit we're all interested in, isn't it? But because of recent developments, I thought, no, I'm going to read this guy's book. I'm going to read it from the very beginning. I'd already read the first couple of chapters, but I didn't really go any further because I wasn't interested in all his Sandhurst stuff. But then this Cotswold thing has come into our lives recently, and our family lives. So I thought, I'll read the bit about the Cotswolds. So let's talk about the secrets of the Cotswolds. So I read chapter 1 and 2 again. Although they're not chapters. The guy doesn't even name them chapters. It's just like a new paragraph. I read the first 2 sections, same as I did before. Then I go on to reading the next bit. So I thought I'd read a few bits out to you for fear of getting a copyright strike from Harry Windsor, or Penguin, or whoever, or this mohair guy who's a poet laureate winner, or whatever, genius helped him write this. I'm being facetious and I'm not giving the guy his name, of course, because I think he's a fool. The first bit that I read, I actually found really, really funny. Graham's brother phoned up last night for like a mammoth video call, 6.5 hours. And I was reading this, and Graham and his brother were reminiscing about awful things that they did to each other when they were kids. And the section I'm going to read you in a minute, it involves William, and it is really funny. Probably not very funny for Harry, but I found it amusing. So he's at Eton, and his mates wanted to shave his head with clippers. Someone suggested that my hair was a complete disaster like grass on the moors. Well, what can be done? Let me have a go at it. Yeah, let me shave it off. That didn't sound right, but I wanted to go along. I wanted to be a top bloke, a funny bloke. Now, I understand this. You know, he's trying to fit in. He's trying to go along with what these guys want. Anyway, someone fetched the clippers. Someone pushed me into a chair. How quickly, how blithely, after a lifetime of healthy growth. Oh, I bet he misses that. It all went cascading off my head. When the cutters were done, I looked down, saw dozens of pyramids of ginger on the floor, like red volcanoes seen from a plane. Wow, what a metaphor, red volcanoes. And I knew I'd made a legendary mistake. I ran to the mirror, suspicion confirmed. I screamed in horror. My mates screamed too, with laughter. I ran in circles. I wanted to reverse time. I wanted to scoop up the hair from the floor and glue it back on. I wanted to wake up from this nightmare, not knowing where else to turn. I violated the sacred rule, the one shining commandment never to be broken. I ran upstairs to Willie's room. Willie, of course, being the Prince of Wales, Prince William. Of course, there was nothing Willie could do. I was just hoping he'd tell me it would be okay. Don't freak out, keep calm, Harold. Instead, he laughed like the others, and I kind of envisaged a bewildered Prince William opening his door, taking one look at Harry and going... And Harry then goes on to complain that William laughed at him. I mean, what else in the hell could William do or say? So there are amusing parts of the book. This guy is, the way Harry's written this is really weird. He actually comes across as like he was really childish to quite advanced teenage years. You know, playing with toy soldiers. He makes reference to that a lot, playing with toy soldiers. Now, I remember when Ben was 13 and I mean, he was well into gaming and stuff like that. I'm not dissing, you know, being into toy soldiers. I guess if you're a member of the royal family, you might want to reenact a battle of some sort. I don't know, something like Battle of Bosworth. So there are mildly amusing bits in it, but there's also other parts of it. Now, he complains about having failed or cheated on his art. Somebody came forward with evidence of Harry cheating. Now, it was an art exam, and as I was reading this, I actually thought to myself, and I thought at the time, how in the hell does somebody cheat on an art exam? I mean, someone else would have to draw the picture for you. And take it from me, I have drawn some magnificent stick men in my time, but I've never gotten anyone else to do it for me. So I did actually think this before I read his own words. I thought, how does one cheat on an art exam? And he actually says that. You know, I went on and read it and thought, oh, yeah, great minds, Windsor. Great minds, that's exactly what I thought. Broken-hearted, I wanted to release a statement, hold a press conference, tell the world I did the work, I didn't cheat. The palace wouldn't let me. In this, as in most things, the palace stuck fast to the family motto, never complain, never explain. Now, I know a lot of people think that is a good motto, and it is a good motto, and it works a lot of the time, but memories of me being a kid, and my mother was a politician, and frequently newspapers would just make shit up. I mean, one of the stories they were going to run with was that my mother was a cocaine dealer, and that I was selling the drugs to kids at the local state school. Oh my God, if you had any idea. I mean, my mother, a cocaine dealer, good God. And us as a family, as a lot of you know, cocaine is like our pet least favourite. Don't fucking like cocaine. So, I mean, they'd make these outrageous claims. All sorts of claims in the newspaper. And I had to go and stay with some auntie in the countryside for 3 days to avoid the news of the world. And I hadn't done anything wrong. And I said to my dad, can't you just fucking tell everybody? I didn't do anything wrong. And my parents were like, never complain, never explain. Now, so I sympathise with Harry on this, that he wanted to defend himself and wasn't allowed to. And so as he goes on, then the title stuck. Thus, I was forced to sit back, say nothing, while the papers called me a cheat and a dummy every day. Because of an art project. I mean, how do you cheat on an art project? That's exactly what I thought, Windsor. That's exactly what I thought. But we're coming to the Cotswolds part, and then I'll try and explain a bit more. And his father just saying, you know, just don't read it, ignore it. Now, being an Archie, I don't think that one did stick, Harry, but being thick, that one has stuck because you have done so many things that are really stupid, which is the part I'm going to come to next, which of course is the choice of fancy dress costume, which was ill-advised. And I'll have to be careful with my language so I don't have to name this video something like, you might actually die if you watch this video, because that's the only way YouTube will remove restrictions, if I actually warn people they might die from watching my videos. Not quite sure why death would be involved, but ask the AI bot at Google. Now this is really interesting, this paragraph. So he's gone to a fancy dress shop with William and Catherine. And William's wearing some sort of catsuit with a curly tail with his new girlfriend, Catherine, who Harry is talking about. I liked seeing Kate laugh. Better yet, I liked making her laugh, and I was quite good at it. My transparently silly side connected with her heavily disguised silly side. Whenever I worried that Kate was going to be the one to take Willie from me, I consoled myself with thoughts of all our futures laughing fits together, and I told myself how great everything would be when I had a serious girlfriend who could laugh along with us. Oh dear. Well, that's where it went wrong, innit, Harry? Because I'm not sure your missus has got a sense of humour. She takes herself so seriously, and she tells a lot of lies, and she manipulates, and she causes a lot of shit. So they were happy-go-lucky with your brother and his new girlfriend, who became the Princess of Wales, and you were alienated, you were isolated from all of that by this. So, you know, never mind the cheating on the art exam, the not very bright part. Yeah, the not very bright part, that is going to stick, I'm afraid. But then he goes on, and there's a particular word in this. Maybe I thought I can make Kate laugh with my costume. What would it be? What's Harold going to be? This became our topic. On the day of the party, it was decided I'd go to a nearby village, Nailsworth, where there was a well-known costume shop. Surely I could find something there. It's a bit blurry, though some things come back with total certainty. The shop had an unforgettable smell. I remember its musty, mouldy funk, with an undercurrent of something else, something indefinable, something airborne, product of a slightly sealed room containing hundreds of pairs of trousers shared over several decades by thousands of humans. I went up and down the rows, sifting through the racks, seeing nothing I liked. With time running out, I narrowed my options to two: a British pilot's uniform and a sand-coloured Nazi uniform. Well, oh, Windsor. I mean, he does go on to admit what an idiot he was. But I mean, British pilot, Nazi uniform. British pilot, Nazi uniform. Oh, God. He does try and blame Catherine and William. Whether that is true, I seriously doubt it. Well, I mean, I don't know. They would have been kids, which he comes to. They would have been very young people. Very, very young people, and, you know, having a laugh, and young people say outrageous things to each other to make each other laugh. You can kind of imagine the scenario. With a sparse armband and a flat cap. I phoned Willie and Kate, asked what they thought. Nazi uniform, they said. They were probably being sarcastic and probably pissed themselves laughing when he brought it home and thought, you are gotta be fucking kidding. Oh, you're just not getting the joke, are you, mate? You're not getting the irony. You know, I can see this. Older sibling, older brother. My God, you guys should have heard that call with Graham and his brother last night and the things they'd done to each other when they were younger. Oh, my goodness me. Anyway, I mean, for example, Graham left his younger brother up a lamppost all day long, challenged him to climb to the top of the lamppost. Little lad did it, got stuck at the top. Graham, 2 years older, laughed with his mates, ran off and went home. When he went home to his mum, she said, where's your younger brother? He goes, oh, he's up a lamppost somewhere. Oh my God, what lamppost? And that was one of the nicer things. And there's Graham's kid brother last night going, I've beaten you up on a few occasions. I got your back, you deserved it, you bastard. So, I mean, siblings, especially brothers, close in age. I rented it, plus a silly moustache. Oh, God. and went back to the house. I tried it all on. They both howled, worse than Willie's leotard outfit, way more ridiculous. I don't think that's what they were laughing at, Harry. I think it was the outrageousness, the stupidity they were probably laughing at. I don't think anybody ever actually laughed at a Nazi uniform and thought, oh, that's so funny. Right, dude? But the moustache needed trimming, so I snipped the long bits along the ends, making it a proper Hitler moustache. Yeah, he's actually put that in the book. Then added it with some cargo trousers. Off we went to the party where no one looked twice at my costume. All the natives and colonials were more focused on getting drunk and groping each other. No one took notice of me, which I put down as a small win. Somehow, however, snapped photos. Days later, someone saw a chance to make some cash or some trouble and sought out a reporter. How much snaps from a recent party attended by young royals. The crown jewel of the photo was thought to be Willie in his leotard, but the reporter spotted something else. Hello, what's this? The spare as a Nazi. Yeah. I mean, naive, innocent, stupid, thick. There are many, many things. He does go on to talk about how he deeply regretted it. What followed was a firestorm which I thought at times would engulf me, and I felt that I deserved to be engulfed. There were moments over the course of the next several weeks and months when I thought I might die of shame. Gotta give him credit for that. The typical response to the photos was, what could he have been thinking? The simplest answer was, I wasn't. When I saw those photos, I recognised immediately that my brain had been shut off, that perhaps it had been shut off for some time. I wanted to go around Britain knocking on doors, explaining to people I wasn't thinking, I meant no harm, but it wouldn't have made any difference. Judgment was swift, harsh. I was either a crypto-Nazi or else a mental defective. Now, I've got to kind of defend the guy to a point on this. He was completely wrong to do that. Young, stupid, as he goes on to explain his father said to him. But I mean, how many times do we see in the media when someone fucks up and they apologise profusely all over the place? It's not good enough. That's not good enough. You know? So I don't kind of like that. Plus, I'm far from perfect. I fuck loads of things up. Admittedly, I have never dressed as a Nazi. But I get loads of things wrong. And God, when I look back at some of the shit that I did when I was in my teens and 20s, it actually makes my palms sweat. You would be horrified. So I'm certainly not going to sit in judgment on the guy. And this is coming from me. I support and I wear a Star of David. And I'm looking at this situation and thinking, yeah, I can imagine it. You know, he's not a very bright guy. Thought it was going to be fun. He had no idea someone would have a camera there. And he is really, really sorry. And I mean, at what point are they taking off the cross and uncrucified? At what point? So I can't speak for you guys. I personally cannot be like the Sugars, where it's never good enough. Or Megan, it's not good enough. I don't want to be anything like those people. Nothing like them. I prefer to sit back and analyse, watching someone else has done something wrong and fucked things up, and instead of sitting there going, yes, well, I'm Fiona, and I'm bloody perfect. I'm second to God, and I feel I can cast judgment on every other human being that lives. No, you're never going to get me doing that. So I'm looking at this from an impartial point of view to a certain point. But the town Nailsworth is... I think you're going to hear a lot more about that town from me in the future. Let's carry on, shall we? I turned to Willie. He was sympathetic, but there wasn't much to say. Then I phoned Pa. To my surprise, he was serene. At first I was suspicious. I thought maybe he was seeing my crisis as another opportunity to bolster his PR. But he spoke to me with such tenderness, such genuine compassion, that I was disarmed and grateful. He didn't gloss over the facts. Darling boy, how could you be so foolish? I'll totally understand the King's words there. My cheeks burned. I know. But he quickly went on to say that it was all foolishness of youth. I know what all you guys are typing right now. Well, then the cheeky little fucker shouldn't have been going on about fucking racism and unconscious bias. And you're bloody right about that. You're on the money on that. And I really pray to God Windsor watches at least this video of mine and listens. You total imbecile. Getting involved with people like Christopher Boozy and your missus going on Oprah, going on about racism. I mean, you've got a flaming cheek, Windsor. Red cheeks, ain't ya? Eh? This is what I mean. I won't sit in judgment on you for wearing a Nazi uniform. That's, you know, you fucked up, man. You said I fucked up. But use that in judgment on your family, on Oprah, with your bitch wife. And you doubled down and you've called the Commonwealth, which is a club, countries are free to join and leave. You likened that to Empire Point 2 of slavery and exploitation. Oh, and then you go on about people calling you thick. Come on, think, Windsor, think. Anyway, he goes on. That he remembered being publicly vilified for youthful sins and it wasn't fair. No, it's harsh. Because youth is the time when you're by definition unfinished. I would suggest that even at a great age of 100, a person can be unfinished. You're still growing, still becoming, still learning, he said. You didn't specifically cite any of his youthful humiliations, but I knew, you know, and we all know that. We don't need to go into that. So he does express great regret. He explains great stupidity, lack of understanding. Now, old boy, doesn't he love to be a judgmental little git? I bet he misses his hair now. I bet he wish he could see those red volcanoes on the floor. All he's going to see is a few little wisps. Oh my God, not another hair. Oh, Harry, and you laughed at your brother for that? God, own it, mate. So, Nailsworth, yeah. I've never looked at the Cotswolds before the last week. I've heard of them, obviously. I didn't know there's a beautiful little town with a population of 13,900 called Stroud. I didn't know that Gapcombe Park was 7 miles south of that and that Highgrove was 12.5 miles south of it. I'd never heard of, what's the other one, Tetworth. I just didn't know the lay of the land down there. Never really heard of Nailsworth, but I've looked on the map in the last few days and I've seen how close it all is, and maybe it's a very nasty coincidence and maybe it isn't, and you will all hear more in the future about that. As always, thank you very much for listening. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions, and I'm sure they're going to be like long and kind of deep comments about that. And lots to think about. As I say, I am far from perfect. I'm probably one of the most imperfect people you're ever going to come across. I'm a complete idiot, not intelligent, not particularly well educated. I just run off at the mouth on shit that I see. But I do try not to hurt other people. So I find it really inexplicable to read a guy's book like that and to think, how could your well-wishers, fans, whether paid or not, do the things and say the things that they have said to my family, Windsor? You think about that, Windsor, because I know you watch these videos. To everyone else, have a lovely and pleasant day and look forward to reading your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening.